Welcome back and good morning once again. If you are just joining us, this is still Daybreak Africa. Well, today we'll be discussing revival of ineffective sectors in promoting national growth. And to do that, we have engineer Adebowale Adeagbo, who is a public affairs analyst and is in our studio right now. Good morning and welcome to Daybreak Africa.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Engineer Adebowale.
Absolutely.
We want to dive into a very interesting topic, and I feel it's going to be a very effective one because you are going to be analyzing them in an engineer way. But firstly, before we jump to the future, we have to analyze what has happened in the past so we can be able to know where we are heading to. The previous administration of the Nigerian as a nation, they have done a lot of things that most people in their own view they feel is not fine. Now, as a public affairs analyst, I want you to give us your own view on what the past administration have done economically and what the present administration is trying to do to fix Nigeria. Possibly, I will use the word in Nigeria we use, taking us back to our promised land.
Yeah. Well, I want to say that every government or every administration have their focus. For President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration, I think he focused more on the infrastructure aspect of the economy, because when you have several infrastructure decay, you understand, you cannot even drive the economy. Take for instance the roads that were built, you understand, if those roads were not there, how do you want to move people? How do you want to move goods? How do you want to move raw materials, you understand? So he focused more on that sector, the infrastructure development, because majority of those roads, they have been there since military era. Nobody was trying to do anything, you understand? Look at the Niger Bridge and all those things, and the rail infrastructure sector, that was resuscitated. Is already a forgone thing. The only train that I could remember was when I was in secondary school. So because my school is very close to railway station, so those rickety train, you understand? So I think he focused more on the infrastructure aspect, economy wise. I mean, my macroeconomics and all those things, and how to, I don't think he has done well in that. How to manage economy. I don't think he really paid attention to that. But infrastructurally, he tried, and that is already a base to drive the economy.
Now, fast forward down to the present administration, because I think the question is a twin question. To the present administration, of course, when they were coming in, there were a lot of promises during the campaign. We will do this, we will do that. Because some times ago, an analyst was in the studio and he said there's going to be a lot of promises, but the actualization is the main issue here. Now, with a lot of feasibility study being carried out, most people will say, okay, it's possible. Now, you as a public affairs analyst, having in mind what has happened before, of course, your history is part of you, what we have been having from previous leaders, the policies that the new administration is trying to bring in, do you see it as is going to be an effective one to cushion poverty and put everything back, especially the decaying infrastructure, the sectors that are not working? Also having in mind that we are practicing majorly just one kind of economy, the petroleum sector. We are not looking into agriculture and the rest. This part, they will tell you that they are looking into it, but they have not really been looking at it, if you ask me. So looking at what they've said they have on board, do you think these things are going to be a positive thing for us, or they are going to work for us?
Well, for every goal that is being set, I think it can be actualized.
Okay.
Depends on the will of the person that is driving that, you understand? So it really depends on the person at the helm of affairs, you understand? So the current administration, I don't want everybody to make a mistake of judging an administration that has not even used, it's less than 4 months, you understand? So I want us, in our giving them time, we should put checks and measure what they have done, month in, month out. That is fine, but to now make a conclusion that this is how they are not going to achieve it, I would not want us to just commit that fallacy, you understand? But currently, for what I have seen, there is one thing we agree on, is the fact that this economy has to be revived and reformed. So, and I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing something that, if not anything, he has started this tax reform. He considered a team It's being head by this Mr. What is this man's name from PwC. So I think he's doing something in that regard for reforming the economy. So, and we are talking of multiple tax and all those things. So they are looking at how they can remove all those multiple tax. What you are paying before, the only thing is it is just being duplicated. You can't be paying for several things that is meant for. You understand? There are similarities. So I think they are working in that aspect. That will revive the manufacturing industries, several other sectors. You understand? So that on its own is to give you a green light that they are working on the economy and they are trying to reform. And look at what is happening in CBN. I think in the last 8 years, there has never been any audit report or any form of report from CBN. So those are the things that we should always look out for and give them kudos when they do. Look at the revelations from CBN, what has happened, how the past or the suspended governor of allegedly has mishandled the funds and all those things. I was even reading, I think I saw a video of some a 3-point-something billion that was given to well, allegedly to Dangote refinery. You understand? So those are the things. They are doing something about that, and for that I give them kudos. So I feel it is achievable.
Well,
Okay.
speaking of checks and balances, let me take you back to when you said, look, because okay, fine, the present administration, they are less than 4 months in position
office.
in office. So now, looking at that checks and balances, do you think with the recent ministerial appointment, do you think the administration is ready for action with the recent appointment, a portfolio assigned to those ministers currently?
Yeah, they are ready.
They are ready.
I like the confidence behind his statement.
They are ready.
Not a straightforward answer. They are ready.
They are ready. Why I say they are ready?
Okay.
You cannot have it all. Don't forget that this current administration is coming where they are coming from. When you look at the trajectory of the what is it called, the elections in time past, we used to have a dual or two-party race, but this 2023 we have 3-party race. That means the 2-party, let's say 20 million wants to vote, is divided into 3. And one person now wins, you understand? And he's taking like 1/3. That means he has more antagonists than who voted, than the supporters, you understand? So people should not look things from the fact they didn't do this. There will always be 1001 excuses for what they have done or what they have not done wrong or what they have not done right. So for me, these persons are technocrats. They have track records of what they have achieved in the past. The Minister of Information, the Bosun guy from Ogun State, we can go back and verify, like some persons always say, verify, go and verify. This guy is somebody that has done well for himself in that sector. When you talk of the current Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, is someone deputy governor of Central Bank. Well, he was once a deputy governor of Central Bank. So those are technocrats. But the only issue that people are raising is what can you tell me? Somebody that did not study this, that we have to understand that these are political positions. These are political offices. We have persons in those sectors that are already doing wonderfully well or not doing well, that needs to be, you understand, that need to be put in place where they need to be put. And so those are the things that we should be talking about. How are they going to undo those sectors that they have given?
That is very good. I will come in from that aspect. Firstly, Adebowale, you made mention of something that is very interesting. You said, talking about taxation. Yeah. You know, if you talk about taxation, I believe that it's a business. And before you put such huge taxation on your citizens, there must be things that are supposed to be in place for them to be able to show that this taxation that won't cause issues on their economic and lifestyle and everything. This is a question that has not been answered by the present administration. Somebody said, it is one thing for you to build a big hospital, to big infrastructures in a country, and your citizens cannot even afford to enjoy those infrastructures. Just like now, if the minimum wage remains stagnant, because if you're talking about reviving sectors, I believe human power people in this country are also a sector on their own that needs to be retouched with a very good hand for them to be fine. Because if these people are not fine, I bet to say the economy is not fine.
Yeah.
Now you have these people there. The minimum wage is an issue that has not been touched. That's aside. Now we are Nigerians, and we understand that as Nigeria, as a country that we are a consuming nation. We hardly produce things that we consume ourselves. Now we have a problem of trying to bring everything to a board and fix it in a whole that is going to be well and everything will be fine. My question is this: from that taxation down to us being a producing nation and not being a consuming nation again, how do we go about this?
Yeah, thankfully the current president is someone that is a technocrat. He understands business. He understands. Look at what he has done in time past. You understand, and he always used a statement that you want to revive something, you can give somebody tax incentives and all those things. And there's a statement that the spokesperson made, I think, like some months ago, that the current administration, they are not there to tax production. They are not there to tax poverty. They are there to tax prosperity. You understand? So I'm not a spokesperson. I'm not an APC member. I don't belong to this administration. But going by what they have said, and they say, okay, we are not taxing those industries more, because everybody agrees that this is a consuming economy. We consume a lot. We produce far less than what we consume. So they are trying to revive that sector so that we can produce. So, but the promise is that they are not going to tax more, because somebody that is still trying to find his or her feet, you can't be putting more responsibilities on those people. I think that's the main reason for this tax reform. It's not necessarily, doesn't necessarily mean that they want to go ahead and tax everybody just like that. And going by the what you said about minimum wage, I think there's a discussion, there's a negotiation going. They don't just wake up one day and just say, this is what we want to pay for minimum wage. They have agreed to that.
If you said by your word that there's a negotiation that is being that is going on for things to be fine in that regard, there's also supposed to be a negotiation that's supposed to have gone on, made before these policies have been put in place. The policies have been put in place now. Talking about Nigeria right now, if you just ask most people, they will tell you that we are facing an economic issues. Most of our sectors are not working. Talking about the educational sector, the refineries are not working. They are almost like they are not working, because when you have to take your crude outside Nigeria to refine and bring back to the country for you to be able to sell, you are not even operating at your own currency anymore. These things are problems that we are facing in our country. Now, you as a Nigerian that has the knowledge of economics and what is really happening, do you see anything really happening? Now, if I should even ask, what do you even think is the major problem of the Nigerian economy right now?
Well, point of correction, I'm not an economist. I'm an engineer.
Okay.
But
so you have the knowledge.
Said I'm as an economist. Well, however, we have several sectors that are not doing well. Look at that. This petroleum industry is a whole lot of issues, and I think that was what led to this policy, subsidy issues and all those things. Several, in fact, corruption, big corruption has been going on in that sector for donkey years. And the only issue that I have with this present administration is that they have not even brought anybody to book. We don't know who these persons are. They just say they are big guns, they don't do this, they do that. But nobody is exposing them. You understand? So for now, I think those sectors are not working fine. We can only hope that the new, like, okay, we have ministers now, we have head of those parastatals now, so we can hold them responsible, and I think the current president will give them KPIs.
And that is exactly where I want to come in. You made mention that we should expect something good from this administration, especially in reforming those sectors. Now, the administration has been able to see that there are some big guns, as you use in your word, that are swallowing our funds and they are not being used judiciously. If they have seen these things and they are not pointing them out, they are not bringing them out, there is a problem there, if you agree with me. So are we to trust this same administration to be able to reform if they can't even bring these people to book?
Yeah, I'll go by what the former vice president of Nigeria said, that you are trying to chase a thief. You understand? Forgetting that you still have stocks in your store. You understand? By the time you come back, they will have empty your shop. You understand? So what I feel is that if I don't know if they have a plan, but for them not to expose anybody, I will not go with it. But they might have that in plan. But for them not to be derailed, maybe that's why they are not really going after those guys right now. They are already focused on, let's reform this sector, let's deregulate, let's do this and that. But we have to know all those guys that have been embezzling our funds as a country. They have led us to where we are currently, and that is the reason why we have all this bad economy and situation. So they have to expose them. But I want to believe that can still be done. Maybe they just want to focus on getting the job done while they work on getting, because we can't afford to chase thieves and let our shows be taken over by another thieves, maybe higher thieves,
bigger ones.
Bigger ones. So I want to go by what the former vice president said. I want to go by that.
In the oil sector, you know, a lot of controversies surrounds this oil sector, ranging from the president himself heading the Ministry of Petroleum. Though that one is a discussion, but like,
another day.
I'm telling you. But like, okay, that aside, we still have. Do you think the issue of subsidy removal at the point it was removed, do you think that was a necessary step to have taken at that point? And even if, because if we notice in some while ago, they said they were considering bringing back the subsidy temporarily. So do you think at that they did a quick jump start to removing the subsidy at the point they did?
Well, for me, they actually did. They actually did, but I will not blame everything on this current administration. Maybe I will blame it on the previous administrations. You understand? This subsidy has to have gone before now. So those previous administrations should have put in place all these refineries and all those things that needs to be put in place. Put our refineries at optimum level and let them be working while we work on removing or deregulating the petroleum industries. So they should have done all that before. But when you look at the economic situation, who buys something and you cannot fund it and you borrow again to pay somebody for subsidizing? You understand? I know that for every nation there should be something that you subsidize for the citizen, but it's not at the detriment of the economic situation of the country. We all agree on something before President Buhari left, that we have a revenue problem. For somebody that has a revenue problem to go, and the DMO, the Department of I think Debt Management, what was their full name? They gave a caution that Nigeria cannot afford to borrow again. We can't afford to borrow. So how do? We look inwards. How can we shed weight instead of borrowing and the limited few at the top of the pyramid are enjoying? So it was a very, very hard decision to take by President Tinubu. But they should have done something probably before now, fixing those refineries so that we will not be, even the transportation cost alone, bringing those extracts of crude oil back to Nigeria. If it's removed from all these costs, I think things will be far better.
It's a well said statement. But now, I always say your past is part of you. Your future, if you can achieve it, will become part of you.
Correct.
Now, if we keep blaming the past administration, of course, we might not possibly move, but they are still part of us because what they have done might make or mar the present administration. Most people just believe that when the administration comes in, they are going to correct everything that has been going wrong. But now, looking at what they've done in respect of subsidy removal, you will agree with me that the small-scale businesses do put a lot of blessings into the Nigerian economy. But right now, most of them can hardly survive due to the removal of fuel subsidy. That is that. Now, I want to ask you, what do you think is the future of economic development in Nigeria? Also having in mind that most small businesses cannot survive right now.
The future should start from reviving the economy. And in what sense? Look at this deregulation of petroleum, and we are even talking of petrol. why not? Let's focus on that. Our what is it called? The dollar rates, the dollarization economy, the foreign exchange and all those things. We are not even attracting foreign investment, foreign exchange.
Firstly, what
I
do you
think that is our major problem. You know why? The higher the dollar, the higher the cost of the fuel we are talking about. Of course. So how do we make sure dollar is stabilized? Is when we attract foreign reserve. Our foreign reserve is increased, and we attract foreign investment. We attract foreign currency. You understand? But this current economy is not attracting. Is attracting nothing. We are not attracting enough. So I think we should look at how can we look at the supply side of the dollar. If you have enough dollar in this economy, the naira will not be struggling to move. But majority of what we do in this country is dollarized. You want to buy car, dollars, because you have to import. The shirts that we are wearing is either you import or I don't. Everything I'm putting on, I know is not from Nigeria. It's not made in Nigeria. So we have to work on how we attract foreign investments. Attracting foreign investment means we are going to, like we are talking of several sectors that are not being tapped into or that are not functional. We have to revive those non-functional sectors. If we revive them, we can attract foreign investments. People can come. There are some sectors that what they will generate as output will serve as raw materials, source of raw materials to other companies. You understand? We can now maybe export those are finished products from those sectors as raw materials to another country. We attract foreign investment. How can you have a cocoa producing state and yet we export those cocoa this thing?
And I would like to come in from that statement that you said. You're talking about attracting investors into your country. Also try not to make your economy a dollarized economy. Now, we have the problem it has been from the onset. But now, if we say we want to look into agriculture, you will agree with me that our farmers are not even going back to farm. Why? Insecurity issues. Now, when the insecurity is so high that your farmers cannot even go to the farm, what does the government need to do in that aspect? Because you made mention of cocoa is a worldwide known crop that most people want to even enjoy. We have it here, but we can't even do it. So I want you to give me an analysis of how the government can make use of these resources that we have inside of Nigeria. Because if we keep just talking about we want to improve our economy, we want to do the East more, we are just saying it, but we are not seeing any actualization of these dreams. So now I want you to give us analysis on how they will make use of all these things, how they can make them work inwardly. Also looking at our political economics is not really working. How do you think Nigeria can make these things work, putting all these figures together to make them a reality for us?
For Nigeria, we have several things that we can harness. Look at our agricultural sector. I think President Buhari was able to do his own part, because before he came in, it was oil and oil and oil. When they were giving report of, I think they just concluded here, or their administration, the agri sector contributed hugely to the economy of Nigeria. And when we are talking of what they focus on, I think they focus more on rise and rise and rise and rise, even though they are still corruption with the President Buhari that I know, he meant well. Look at what the corruption that is happening in NISA, or that bank that was created to ensure that the agri sector functions well. Several of the money was embezzled. So we have to look at corruption as a whole. Okay, how do we fight corruption? So if we are going to fight, in our fighting corruption, it's not that we are witch hunting people. We have to attract those money back. We need those money in this economy. Now, if we are because when you are talking of insecurity, somebody is behind it. What led to that? When you're talking of insecurity in some places, because they have natural resources domiciled there, that must have led to insecurity. They don't want people to come down there and see what is going on. So Nigeria is losing a whole lot from there. So for the insecurity, the president has started his own fight against insecurity by bringing in new service chiefs, and I believe everybody will agree to the fact that those guys that are there, they are top notch, they know their onions, they know what it's expected of them to deliver. And we have the NSA being a former police person, and we now have new Minister of Defense, you understand? So they should work all together to fight insecurity in this country, because if insecurity is not dealt with, the farmers cannot even go back to their farmland. And before now, we were talking of cattle. What was it called?
The herdsmen.
The herdsmen battle. I think all these things contributed to what we experience currently, the food inflation and all those things. So, and when those insecurity issues are fixed, then we cannot talk of our farmers going back to field to go and farm. And after farming, we talk of how can all this raw produce from the farm, do we need to bring in investors that can create their own manufacturing plant, or they can create what they can use, an avenue to use to put those raw, refine all those raw raw produce from the farm and turn it to finished product before we now export. We have exported enough of raw materials. We have to work on making sure that we ourselves we produce finished goods, that because we earn more money if you export raw materials, and at the end of the day we'll keep on importing the finished products into this country. So we have to look at how we can patronize made in Nigeria. So made in Nigeria, so that if we have a company that can do it in this country, or somebody a company that we can sign a partnership agreement, public-private partnership agreement with, that can work on that, so that the sector will be working well. We are not putting more pressure on Naira. You understand? We attract foreign investment. I think that is better.
Because we're almost out of time, let's quickly look at the energy sector. You know, in recent times, they said electricity, the energy sector has to come with privatization.
I think I like that.
The privatization of the energy sector, that's the best decision for the energy should go on to right now, and that each state should be able to should generate its own electricity. But at this point in time, do you think all the states in Nigeria, 36 states with the FCT, they are all capable of generating their own electricity at this point in time?
No, not all states. If you want to talk of states that has that capacity, because to generate 1 megawatt of electricity, of power, it costs billions of dollars. You understand? So for states like Lagos State, they have the economy. The economy is even enough to even fund like 2, 3, 4, 5 states in this country. They can go into that. But some states, like, I will not mention states so that it won't be like a slide. But the point is, to generate power is not easy, but it can be achieved. It's not a one-man business. We are talking of partnership, collective efforts. If it's what we can achieve, because power drives the economic situation in the nation too. A productive nation will not have an epileptic power supply. For me, somebody like me, if I don't have supply in my house, I'm not productive. But once I have that power, I can see light. I'm very, very productive. In fact, I like it 24 hours.
Even psychologically,
it will affect
you are awake.
So the states there can be private and government partnership, so that, okay, this is what we want to achieve. Ondo State has independent power plants just along that or Lagos or road, but nothing has happened till now. It has, I think, 70% completed. And the last time I visited that area, I learned that some companies are waiting for Ondo State government to kickstart that, just power that plant. They already taking all the lands that are very close to that place, but Ondo State government has not finalized. They have not taking it to 100% completion. So those kind of partnership can work together, and so that we can power this country. It's a good initiative, so that distribution, where they have less efficiency, they can just come together and look at, okay, how can we do this it will even put the lessen the pressure on other distribution companies, and it will bring competitiveness.
That's very
All
true.
right. Thank you
Wow.
very much.
Thank you. I must say it's a really enjoyable session with
yeah.
you. Although you said you were not going to mention some state, but you eventually ended up doing
I'm
that,
telling you, you did
which
that.
is. But I appreciate that because you spoke the truth. You stand for the truth, and that is exactly what we want on the show. Thank you for coming on the program once again.
We hope to see you another time.
It's my pleasure. I'll always come back.
All right, viewers. Nigeria is going to be great, is what I always say, because I believe in Nigeria. I believe in everybody. We need to work together. Collective efforts in every sector will make Nigeria the great nation that we have all envisioned and believe that we are going to be. From us here, we'll be handing over to our Lagos studio. We should believe they have more interesting package to give to you. From here, I remain Michael Obagiri.
I am Fatima Ibrahim. Bye.